Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Gangster Squad. This movie is directed by Ruben Fleischer, who previously directed 30 Minutes or Less in Zombieland. This movie stars Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Sean Penn, and Emma Stone. Now, when the trailer to this movie first came out back in, I think, May, I was like, alright, looks like a film noir, action-packed version of The Untouchables meets Public Enemies. So I was excited for it because monster movies are some of my favorite films. So, I saw the movie, and it was entertaining, but just because it has the word gangster in the title doesn't necessarily mean it deserves to be up there with classics like Miller's Crossing and The Godfather. I would actually put it around the same range as Mobsters with Christian Slater. For the most part, was okay. Only because my expectations for this movie, especially since it was pushed back 6 months, were really high. I was like, alright, I'm tired of waiting for this movie, it better be good. So, I saw it, and I liked it, but it's not one of the best movies I've ever seen by far. You have Sean Penn as Mickey Cohen, a gangster who seems to have anger problems and seems to be ruthless and maniacal, and that may have been the case. I don't know. I didn't look that deep into this movie because I figured if they're going to say inspired by true events, that they're going to do their homework on it. So I took their word for it. And Sean Penn, to me, seemed a little over the top. He's a good actor. I loved Mystic River, and I loved Dead Man Walking, but in this movie he seemed a little too angry all the time, a little too ruthless, and he was one of those bad guys where it's like he can play a tough guy and he can kill all of his henchmen that he wants, but when it comes down to it, he's a chicken. He's a chicken. That's what his appearance seemed to be like, you know. And this movie was very formulaic, especially when it came to the bad guy. This movie, I'm going to compare this movie to a lot of things, but it's like the movie The Punisher with Thomas Jane, where it's like, yeah, you have a bad guy that's tough and is rich and has all this power, but when you break the character down, he's just like a scared little boy, where he can make all these threats, and he can break all of his furniture and all these things, and he can seem like, you know, he's a loose cannon, but he's really just scared of the good guys. So that's what Sean Penn's character brought to the table. And you have Josh Brolin as the main character. Now, for the beginning of the movie, yeah, it seemed like he was the main character, but then as soon as they introduced Ryan Gosling's character, it seemed like Ryan Gosling seemed to take over the role. Now, Josh Brolin's a good actor, but he seemed to kind of be only the main character at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end of the movie. The rest of the time it was like, oh yeah, Josh Brolin's in this, I forgot. And then Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling is another good actor. Now, I don't know how close this movie is to historical fact. It's probably historical fiction. But Ryan Gosling's character seemed like a tough guy. You know, he has a drive type moment where his character gets really mad and angry and doesn't say a word, and he walks into a room and he means business, and that's cool. Those parts are cool. But when you have his character, you know, looking cool like Ryan Gosling does, and you have him go to a bar and say to Emma Stone, I'm just hoping I take you to bed. His voice in the movie really puts the character off. I'm glad that it seemed like throughout the course of the movie, my friend pointed out that it seemed like he was told to drop the voice and the accent, because it kind of made his character seem less like a tough guy. That brings us to Emma Stone. Emma Stone was in Crazy Stupid Love with Ryan Gosling. And from judging this movie, it seems like they had a lot more chemistry in that comedy than they did in this drama, because Emma Stone is married to or girlfriend to Sean Penn's character. And then over the course of the movie, she kind of leaves him to kind of see Ryan Gosling on the side. So you'd expect going into this, oh, their chemistry is going to be great because Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are people of the moment. You know, they're hot actors and actresses. So their chemistry will be good and believable, right? Wrong. Not with this movie, because Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling only have like maybe 2 or 3 scenes together. And yeah, okay, that's more than one scene together, but their scenes aren't that long. There isn't really any interaction between them to make you go, oh my gosh, there's you know, the Notebook type chemistry right there, because they're not in any scene longer than 5 minutes. There's one scene where they argue, but there's really not enough to make you go, oh my gosh, I'm so glad they were co-starring again together. And then you have the team of Robert Patrick, Michael Pena, Giovanni Ribisi, and Anthony Mackie, all known and established actors. But in this movie, they kind of made the mistake of, when you put a team together of different character types, you want to fill them with known roles and popular faces. Sometimes that works, like the Expendables and Magnificent Seven. Other times, it doesn't quite work, and this is a good example of that. I say that because besides them, you know, showing Robert Patrick and him being funny in his role, and then again showing Giovanni Ribisi being like the electronic guy, the wiretap dude, and Anthony Mackie throwing a knife, you forget they're there. You know, this movie has them in it, but I would never say, oh, this is a Robert Patrick movie, oh, it's a Giovanni Ribisi movie, because their roles weren't that key. Even Michael Pena, coming off End of Watch, which was a really, really good movie, and then for him to be in this, it's like, why did some of these actors decide to go from what they were in before to this? It didn't make any sense. It seemed like they all faded off, you know, off to the side. Unlike the Untouchables, where you knew who all the characters were in that movie, especially the members of the team. This one, it was like, oh, they have a knife-throwing guy? Oh, okay. Yeah, Magnificent Seven, Expendables again. What team of good guys doesn't have a knife-throwing guy? So, because this movie was entertaining and it was enjoyable while it was on screen, but as soon as it ended, I was like, alright, that's going to be forgettable. Rating 1 to a 5, I'm going to give Gangster Squad a 3. Not that it wasn't a movie I'd see again, but it's a movie I've seen before. It was called The Untouchables, but this one had a bit of a Zack Snyder film in it and some LA Confidential. And again, it said inspired by true events at the beginning of the movie, but my only guess is that it was inspired by The Untouchables, because that's what I kept thinking throughout the whole movie. So until next time, guys, see ya.